Ron Harris here from MuscularDevelopment.com along with Giles Tiger Thomas, bringing you our coverage of the 2018 Olympia weekend courtesy of High-Tech Pharmaceuticals. We were wrapping up Friday night. We had the finals for a few divisions, judging for the couple really big, exciting divisions, which we'll talk about. We'll talk about the finals that we saw tonight first. Fitness Olympia had the finals. Whitney Jones was a winner. I think we saw that coming earlier today, definitely.
Yeah, she looked really good, Yep.
But we didn't see. Oh, come on, we gotta say a little more than that. I mean, we didn't see the routines until tonight, and phenomenal, very worthy winner. Then we moved on to Figure Olympia. Came down to same two we thought it was going to, Candice Lewis-Carter and Sydney Gillen. Sydney Gillen pulled it off. Mm-hmm. Could have gone either way. I think they're both phenomenal figure competitors.
At the night show, I actually thought it might have gone to Candice, especially I was looking at some pictures after the judging, and Candice was just a little bit sharper. I know it's not always down to condition with figure, but I was starting to edge more towards Candice tonight. But like I said, it's a flip of a coin with those two. Last year, it was as it was here. Sydney beat Candice. At the Arnold, Candice beat Sydney. You had Latoya in third. Latoya obviously wasn't here this year, past Miss Olympia figure. And that's how it ended up. So yeah, fantastic for Sydney. She's beautiful. She's fantastic.
Sorry I pulled the mic away too soon there.
Sorry.
Classic Physique Olympia. Yogi Berra put it best when he said deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
Top three was identical to last year. We had Breon Ansley winning, Chris Bumstead second, and George Puech in third. I think they all looked fairly similar to last year. I don't think anyone looked that much better or worse out of those top three. Did you?
No, but the thing with Breon is he comes out at the Arnold Classic and last year. Actually, at the Arnold Classic this year, he came out very, very flat, but he seems to improve as the day goes on. At the Olympia, he was kind of good at the judging and the night show. But at the judging today, I was like, he's not as good as he was last year. He wasn't quite as sharp. And then literally, we were talking like a matter of a few hours, comes back at the night show tonight, and I was like, yeah, he's won that quite clearly.
So they only announced top three. They had the top five, but they only announced the top three placings and gave out the checks for top three. They've been doing that. I think they just want to move the show along quicker, which I can understand and appreciate, certainly. But that left two guys in the top five. I'm not sure where they placed, but I believe Henri-Pierre Arnaud was probably fourth place. You haven't? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying today online, on the social media and online, the commentary, they thought he was good enough to win. Henri-Pierre this was only his third show ever as a classic physique athlete. He had Vancouver was his debut. I think it was fourth there. I saw him win in Tampa, looked phenomenal. And then this was his Olympia debut, and very different look, very, very classic look. This is a guy you would never say, I don't know if he's a bodybuilder or if he's classic. He's classic all day. And I know you were a big fan. You thought he could have been higher for sure.
Absolutely blew me away, Henri. We saw him afterwards at the hotel, and we had to stop him. And I said to him, "You've been so far the biggest surprise of the show for me. I have seen him before, but I saw him as an open in Tampa last year. And when I said in the wrap up from before, I was really shocked when I heard that he'd come down to classic, because I just thought, he's too big and he'll look too stringy, and he doesn't. He looks fantastic. He loses nothing by coming down to classic. That raidable bicep, the condition, the angles he poses his body. It's just, he's a good-looking kid. It's a really perfect example of, I know you said men's physique, classic physique. But I wouldn't have argued if he'd been second or even first.
Yeah. Online, Peter McGuff did a little commentary on his Facebook. Peter McGuff, who has quite an eye for the sport, he had him winning. Yeah. He knew it wasn't going to happen. But that, very good. And Arash Rabar was probably fifth. Arash looked really good. Different type of physique. Doesn't have the tiny little dainty waist that some of these guys have, but real classic physique in the mold of the guys from the 70s and the 80s, I think.
Yeah, very nice physique, very nice. I would like to see him with a bit more detail, though. I don't know whether that is purely down to condition or muscle maturity or whatever, but I like the fact he brought a different package to the Olympia this year, because at the Arnold Classic, when we saw him in March, he was a totally different physique. He was really thick, much thicker in the upper body, but he looked quite imbalanced to me. This year, this Olympia, I definitely felt he was more balanced, so giving a more pleasing classic look. So, a very good poser, very confident, nice stage presence, looks healthy. Another great example of classic.
Yeah. Okay. And, we don't know where the other guys fell in, but we talked about the other guys earlier today. Bumstead, we didn't
Really talked about Bumstead?
we haven't really talked about him in detail. A lot of people were saying they didn't think he was as conditioned as last year. I thought he was pretty close. What do you think?
Again, I wasn't hugely impressed with him at the judging, but then he came back at the night show and his tan was better, he looked fuller, it just totally transformed. I mean, I don't know why these guys look so different sometimes at the judging. Like I said, it happened at the Arnold and it happened again at the Olympia tonight with, I think, nearly all of them, I mean, pretty much everyone looks so much better at the night show.
I think a lot of it has to do with the lighting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, possibly.
Because I can't believe everybody looks that much better physique-wise in. This was a matter of like 5-6 hours, really.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long time it had gone by. But yeah, I mean, people do carb up and drop water and things like that. I'm sure a lot of people did look better as a result, but the lighting at the stage here at the Orleans Arena, definitely different story. It makes people, it's more complimentary. People look leaner, tighter.
And I know we keep saying about George Peterson, we give him flack saying he's more of a 212, but to me, I mean, he is, I mean, I say he'd make a good 212 because he wouldn't have looked out of place in the top 6. I mean, maybe in that first or second call out, he wouldn't have looked out of place in the 212 tonight. Right. And he is really good. His condition's good, his posing's good, and I'm starting to warm to him now in terms of what we consider to be a classic physique, because he just brings, he really brought his A game. I mean, condition, I mean, his back is crazy.
He hits a lot of back poses, and if I had a back like that, I would too.
Crazy.
Okay, so let's move on to 212 bodybuilding. So we knew Flex Lewis was going to retire from the 212, and there were people talking crap like, well, they're going to give it to him no matter what he looks like. And I know and he wasn't going to show up at anything less than his best. He was not going to go out at anything less than 100%. And this might be the best Flex I've ever seen. I thought he looked phenomenal.
100%, that is the best Flex I've ever seen. I was, obviously last year, he had a lot of stress leading up to the show. He did win it, I wouldn't say clearly last year, but he wasn't at his best, and I think we all knew that. Nothing was really popping, he was very flat. His waist was small, but for me, the Flex I wanted to see was the Flex that I saw tonight. Yeah. And you know what? When he was hitting his back shots, that's how I imagine he'd look as an open.
He was fuller. This is the fullest I think I've ever seen him on the Olympia stage.
He looked fantastic. I mean, he's taken conditioning, like his glutes and his hams, he's taken it to the next level. Yeah. I mean, he just came out and he ticks every single box. I thought he was going to win this year, but I didn't think he was going to win by quite a margin. And I think he's won this hands down very comfortably.
He won when he walked out there, basically.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
So based on the call-outs, second and third is going to be, in no particular order, Kamal El-Gardni from the UK. Yes. Another surprise. Kamal, who won the Arnold Classic earlier this year. So this was only his second pro show ever. He wasn't a pro in any organization, was he?
No.
So second pro show, wins the Arnold Classic, and he might be second place at the Olympia this year. Condition was spectacular. And you were saying, that was only 80-85% of Kamal. As always, I'm a doubting Thomas. Like, whatever, Giles. I know he's your buddy. I know you're going to hype him up. But he brought it. He brought condition like probably the best condition in the 212, and that's saying a lot because these guys were no joke.
He was very conditioned. He was a little bit flat, but I mean, he sent me some pictures last week, and I said, look, tell your coach Chris. I said, be careful because I could start to see that there could potentially be some stomach issues. I said, look, either carb up early or whatever you have to do to keep that stomach flat, even if it means coming in a little bit flat. And that's, I don't know, it seems that's exactly what he did. But his condition and his muscle maturity and his separation, I mean, that readable bicep, I said at the Arnold, I really want to see that next to Flex Lewis. And then when I lost my shit when they moved Kamal next to Flex and they hit that readable bicep, I was going bananas. I was going absolutely ballistic. I loved it. It was fantastic, but absolutely thrilled for Kamal. There's a couple of poses he needs to tweak. I'll be messaging him tonight about his rear lat spread. He was kind of getting a bit sloppy on a couple of poses, but I mean, he's such an experienced competitor, Kamal. And I'm absolutely thrilled. And I'm rooting for him to get second because I believe he deserves second. But yeah, I mean, this guy's career, last year, this guy thought his competitive career was over, and now he's coming back. He's winning the Arnold, and he's in that final call-out next.
46 years old, I might add, for all the other old guys out there. Looks like second or third is going to be Derek Lunsford. He was in that group of the three guys with Lex Lewis, Kamal, and Derek got called out. Personally, I thought he looked better last year. I thought he was fuller last year. He looked a little flatter, which always makes people look less conditioned because you don't have the full muscle pushing out against the skin. But the judges clearly liked what they saw. They liked the structure, the shape, the size. I think he's on the rise. I don't know if I would have had him in the top three, though.
Absolutely not in the top three. I was a little bit disappointed with Derek, actually. I mean, a lot can change, say, from today until tomorrow, but just kind of things that kind of weren't popping for me. They was a bit flat. His legs looked a bit, I don't know whether it was just maybe the fact he is flat. His riddle bicep was very impressive. It's very layered, and there's a lot of quality muscle tissue there.
Great back, that kid.
Oh, it's fantastic. But for me, I've been pretty disappointed by Derek. But I wouldn't have had him in that final call out. I would have had him, if he is in top three, I would probably have him 2, maybe even 3 spots lower.
Yeah. And Derek, we love you. This is
we love you.
This is never personal. We're just talking about physiques that are in front of us. This is our job. I always feel the need to add that.
He's a work in progress.
He's going to be great. He's going to be amazing. I would have had Jose Raymond probably in third place.
Yeah.
Jose, this is his 10th and final Olympia. And, I knew he was going to pull out all the stops. I've been looking at all his progress pictures and videos. And, wow, probably, I hate to say it because I've seen him compete probably 20 or 30 times. But I want to say this was the best Jose I've ever seen. Full, strided, separated. I know you probably like him a little lighter and tighter than what we saw today. But I was very impressed with Jose.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. I don't know if it's the best Jose I've seen. I think the best Jose I ever saw was at the 2012 British Grand Prix. Oh. And he looked absolutely terrific there. But I mean, you see, with Jose, obviously with this being his last Olympia, this last contest, last year I actually had him second place. I didn't have him third. Yeah. And then the Arnold, it looked like there were signs of his physique were starting to deteriorate. Yeah. Like his legs were maybe down in size, the left leg was. He was starting to get a little bit thick in the waist, and I thought, is that him just coming in off, or is that his physique starting to fall apart? Yeah. Because he's coming to the end of his career. So to see him today looking that good, I mean, he had his T-shirt. I interviewed him last night at the Meet the Olympians, and it said "Save the best for last." And you kind of want that for him because he's had a fantastic career. He's a huge personality in the sport. Right. So for him to actually bring that, I mean, I was absolutely thrilled. And I would have had him. Yeah, I would have him third. Okay. Third. I'd have him third.
Henry also looked great as always, and guy who's probably dropping down a few spots, Ahmad Ashkanani, who's been second place at the show last 2 years in a row. He's not going to be second place this time. We had the interview with him at the Meet the Olympians last night, and he talked about 4 different surgeries this year. Nose surgery to help his breathing, a hernia, knees, and I couldn't quite understand what he said with the 4th one, if he did, but it had an impact on him. This is not the best Ahmad that I've seen. Legs looked a little bit down. Upper body still looked really good. Yeah, from the side, his legs always look great, but quads, they weren't popping for me. Didn't have the sweep, didn't have the separation, and that hurt him this year. Still looked really good, but he's not going to be second place again.
For me, Ahmad looks the best as he's ever looked. I thought he looked really good. I mean, his lat spread his rear lat spread is just it's I can't even put it into words. His legs
like a king cobra.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I thought he looked good. He'll always need more separation in his legs. Whether he ever actually gets that, I just don't know. But for me,
where would you have him?
4th.
Okay.
Yeah, 4th. 4th is fair.
Would you have him ahead of Derek, maybe?
Yeah.
I think that's fair. It's no offense, Derek. We're not Camel Crew team. We're just calling it like we see it. I don't think we need to talk about anybody. Everybody, other guys look great, but we're moving.
Sean Clowder.
Okay, that's right. There is one guy. Sean. Sorry, Sean. I almost forgot. I'm sorry. Sean brought it. Sean looked bigger, grainier, nastier. That's someone who does get more muscle maturity every year, because not everyone does. Like Arami, I don't see it happening year by year, but Clarita, every year I see more detail on that kid, more graininess, and he's getting bigger and thicker. I know you were impressed.
Do you know what? All I'm going to say is 165 pounds. That's what that guy weighed on stage. Yeah. And he came out and I went, wow! I actually went, wow, the proportions. I mean, he's got a tiny little frame, but everything kind of pops. He's like a little. I just thought it reminded me like a little Flex, like a little miniature version of Flex.
He says he's 5'2". I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's 5 foot.
He looks sensational.
And that's not dissing him. That's I believe if he's 165 pounds, he can't be more than 5 foot. There's just no way.
Yeah.
Because he looks like a tank.
Well, he took 9th place last year, and he said, I'm looking to move up into the top 5. I think he's going to be pretty close to that. I think he's going to be 6th or 7th, right, which is him moving up, so he's moving forward. But the fact that, because every single year he's done the Olympia, every single year he has got heavier, 3 or 4 pounds. And this year, he kind of dropped 7 pounds from what he was at the Olympia last year. He was 172 last year. And he's come right, because he told me 165 last night. I said, you sure, 165? I'd seen all the videos, you've improved. And he says, no, I'm coming in, I want to come in and really bring the condition. He says, I wasn't happy with how I looked condition-wise last year. But he was one of the shocks of the entire Olympia for me. Fantastic.
Okay, so let's finish up talking about the big boys, the Mr. Olympia judging. Some shocking stuff happened, because everyone always assumes whoever was last year's runner-up, he's going to either be runner-up again or he might win. That was Ramy. No, this time it looks like the runner-up, and a lot of people have him winning. Is he going to win? I'm going to say probably not. Reigning Mr. Olympia to me didn't look off. You can weigh in on your opinion on that, but Sean looked damn good. Sean's second place all day, and if the Olympia gods are smiling upon him and things go his way, he could win this thing. A lot of people are talking about it. That was all the buzz going. People walking out a few minutes ago. Do you see it happening? Possibly happening?
What, winning?
Yeah. Where do you see Phil being off exactly? I know you had your opinion on that.
When Phil first came out, I definitely noticed he was smaller.
Yeah.
The waist was down maybe 70%, but there was still something going on in his stomach that wasn't quite aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
But it's, like I said, when he turns to the back, it is lights out, that readable bicep. And head to toe, he is more conditioned, he's more complete. But, the crowd was quite quiet when Phil was posing. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I was thinking, are they just trying to analyze him and really concentrate on, or maybe trying to pick flaws? But I think it was brave coming in a little bit lighter this year. But, the conditioning was incredible. But I don't see him losing. I don't see him losing.
Where would you see Roden pulling ahead of him? Where would you see Roden beating him exactly?
Well, Sean last year, I've mentioned this. Sean last year at the judging had his stomach, but last year was bad. Right. The next day he came back and it was perfectly flat. Yeah. When he first walked out in the judging tonight, it was just slightly coming out. Now, if he can get rid of that for tomorrow completely and kind of fill out a bit more, then I've not even considered that he could beat Phil. Yeah. But it depends on what happens tomorrow.
Right. We'll see, but I personally don't think Phil's off in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. A little smaller, but I think he did that to make sure his waistline, the midsection was tight, which I thought it was. Well, we'll see. Rolly Winkler, probably going to be third place based on the way the call-outs were going. It's either going to be him or Bonac. They were battling back and forth in the call-outs. The final call-out was those 4 guys. It was Phil, Roden, Bonac, and Rolly. And Rolly was getting a lot of love from the judges early on. What do you think? Because I know you've seen Rolly many times and many different looks from him. How'd you rate this year's Rolly?
Based on how Rolly looked when he first came out, I was like, and then saw William, I was like, he's going to beat William. But then Rolly just fades. He fades so fast. And towards the end, it's like he runs out of steam, he runs out of energy, and he just kind of deflates. But whereas William kind of just kept it nice and consistent. If anything, William got better. And I've been saying all year, in fact I said last year, I believe Rolly is more of a freak than Ramy. For me, he's a freakier physique, and I really wanted to see at this Olympia, I wanted to see him pull ahead of Ramy. That for me is going to be something I'd be really happy to see, because I'm a Rolly fan. I have been a Rolly fan, but I just believe that it's his time to kind of overtake Ramy, this time. Yeah,
unless something drastic happens at the rejudging tomorrow, he's definitely beating him this year. Based on what we saw tonight, the best Ramy's doing is 5th.
You think?
Well, that's the way the call-outs were going.
Okay.
So, I'm not just saying that based on the way they were calling them out, he's not doing any better than fifth. But, we'll see. He's certainly not going to be second based on the call-outs.
Yeah.
They didn't have him next to Phil, and they weren't putting him in the middle and all
But
that.
I've seen things happen where, like today, everyone's saying, oh, he's fourth or fifth, and then the next day he comes back and then something happens and, and a result happens.
Well, I mean, he definitely set a standard, 310 pounds, biggest guy in condition ever to set foot on an Olympia stage. Yeah. So, props. He set a brand new standard there that I don't think anyone's going to match anytime soon. Dexter looked pretty good. The thing I saw with Dexter that kind of gave me a little pause was his quads are definitely down. They're losing their sweep. He never had the greatest sweep on them to begin with. And upper body still looks phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Condition was right on point, but I see the thighs starting to go on him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's age, injury, or whatnot, but just calling it like I see it, Dexter. That's the one thing I saw that I'm starting to see go. Everything else, top notch.
Did you notice the size difference?
I don't think he looked smaller, did you?
The right leg was definitely...
That's the one that was definitely catching my attention more.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sweep on this one was gone.
No, it was like the inner thigh. There was something it wasn't matching the left, but there was a definite deterioration there.
Could be some sort of injury or something.
Yeah, but Dexter wasn't first call-out.
He was not.
He was not first call-out.
that's
Brandon
right.
was.
Brandon Curry, who was very full, very conditioned. I don't know if he's beating Dexter. Do you think he could possibly beat Dexter?
From the front, when Brandon walked out, he looked incredible. But from the back, there's just, there's that disparity in his physique from the waist down where, his posterior chain, what you call it, there's something still lacking there. And his back is so big and full and round. It's like two different physiques, His back's fantastic, but it lacked detail.
Anyone else you want to talk about there before we go? Griffin? Any of these guys?
Griffin looked good. Ian Valliere really impressed me.
Yeah, Ian's definitely that's someone who's putting on size and brings in tremendous condition. Someone who I never even honestly thought would get to the Olympia. Now he's fitting right in up there for sure.
Yeah, and I'll tell you really. Oh, Nathan.
Yeah.
Nathan, I thought Nathan looked fantastic.
Wasn't getting a lot of love from the judges.
Yeah.
So
I think it's the best he's looked all year. But I'll tell you who really caught my eye was Alexis Rivera. Yeah, that guy's got a beautiful shape. I mean, over the next 2, 3, 4 years, if that guy can keep pushing, and he's going to be someone that could be knocking on the top 6 in the next year or two. I think he's fantastic. He's got a really nice shape, really nice aesthetics. But
he could have gotten a little better look tonight for sure. But this is the Mr. Olympia. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough show.
And I think Cedric looked better than I think a lot of people expected. He's when he stands there relaxed, he reminds me of how Ronnie used to look sometimes when he stood relaxed, Ronnie Coleman. He would look almost soft, and then when he started to pose, everything started to pop. So, that was a pretty good I think that's the best Cedric I've seen at the Olympia personally.
Okay. Well, that's good because that's usually the show where he blows it. So to see him looking a little better is for sure. But yeah, he wasn't in that first call out, so it's going to be... I don't think he's not going to be in the top 5 or 6, but he'll be somewhere not far behind that. Mm-hmm. That's good. We're good?
We're good.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up day 1. Finals for a couple things, judging for other things. Tomorrow's a big day. We have women's physique and men's physique. I believe both of them are going to be judged and have their finals tomorrow in the morning over at the Expo. And then we'll be back here at the arena for the finals for 212 and the Mr. Olympia. Great year, very exciting. This is probably one of the most exciting Olympias I've been to in a long, long time. Things are shaking up, and we're seeing some people at the top of their game. So stay here at musculardevelopment.com, see how it all shakes out. Check out the contest gallery. The photos will be posted soon because the stuff I take on my iPhone from 10 rows back, not that great. But we got some professional stuff from Jason Breeze, high-res images. You definitely want to come back and look at. If you're not going to stay up late, check it out tomorrow. And we'll have some more video interviews up, all that great stuff. You don't need to go anywhere else. MuscularDevelopment.com is where you want to be. Coverage brought to you by High Tech Pharmaceuticals. And that'll wrap it up for day 1 from the Mr. Olympia contest in Las Vegas. Talk to you later.